Japan released the nuclear waste onto the Pacific Ocean, hurting all the people around the world. And even you don't eat the seafood, it is inevitable that you can also eat those kind of waste and radiated food and radiated stuff because you know it has the evaporated to the from the sea and via the rain and raining downpour onto the land, and all the creatures and the human and the food and the cow or chicken you eat will be also contaminated. So inevitable you eat all those kind of things. And Japan is a country very mean, you know killed a lot of Chinese, massacre, and didn't regret, and now doing this kind of things to the world, hurting all the people, creatures, environment, against the human being. And Japan is very mean and pretending very ritual and very polite, but in fact they are just the appearance like that. But everything's like the appearance is good, but inside is rotten and contains radiation, so it's useless. Unlike Chinese products, maybe the package is not good, but the inside is very good and very delicious. Japan is reverse. So, and USA and those Western world, those kind of organizations saying this kind of radiated waste is acceptable, but in fact, you know what I'm saying? They are the USA controlling those kind of organization, and the capitals is from US, from Japan. That's why all the organization and the environmental friendly protection organization won't appear and to protest against Japan's act. That's the very evil. The world is very evil, and nowadays the world is like anti-human. It's like the Western world, like the neo-Nazis, like in Ukraine, and those kind of the gay marriage and gay legally, the legality of gay marriage and gay, and also lesbian legally, drug legal, and those kind of anti-human being stuff they are doing in the Western world now. That's crazy. Or anti-human beings like this. Japan is the Western world as well, so doing those kind of things invoked by the United States and the Western world, that's crazy nonsense. And now see the shrimps and prawns and the crab in around the Chinese Guangzhou, seeing those kind of creatures, a lot of them appear on the beach because they can feel they're coming. The radiation, the waste water is coming. So they have a good life and they have their thought. They can predict the future. They are very like human being, and I believe in science. Science is like Marxism and Lenin. The science like the Chinese Communist Party and socialism believe in science, and the Western world believe in God. That's not good. The God, they follow God, but they do so anti-human being stuff and evil things. But we Chinese believe in socialism and communism, and we do good things. It's like we know the science. They will have the karma. When you do bad things, you will have some bad reactions, bad result. So Japan one day will have the bad result by the God, or by the God, maybe science as well. By the energy of science is energy transfer and the raping wave. So they will have the consequences, the bad result. Japan, you will see. And even the French married Chinese. The French also don't use Japanese, don't sell Japanese products, don't promote Japanese products. So only the Western government and so on, Japanese governments are bad. But many people, many citizens inside the West, living in the West, still are very clear-minded for what their governments are doing, those bad things, those anti-human being stuff. They are very clear, but many of them are brainwashed by the Western media, the bad media, the evil media, saying China is evil, China is bad, but they are doing bad things to the world. And they don't, stop those Japanese pouring the radiative waste onto the Pacific Sea, and they finally, and turned out they will move. Years later, they will move to the the flow to the American Ocean, the Atlantic, around the west coast of USA. So if they don't stop it, will be the problem. You see, Japanese fund and American fund have a lot for those kind of environmental friendly organizations, saying that okay. Also, the lasting of those kind of radiative elements will last 50 years, 100 years, even to 10,000 or 1,000 years, 10,000 years. So that's crazy, huh? So Japan won't do things like the Soviet Union's, the Chernobyl, that kind of nuclear plant. They use the cement to cover it, but Japan just want to save the money, so they won't do it. But even Soviet Union was broke, no more money, but they just wanted to protect the environment, so they insisted on using the cement to cover it and to contain it. But Japan don't use it, and China and Russia propose a very good another methods like the evaporation, not pouring the water to the sea, but Japan just ignored it and keep insist pouring those kind of waste onto the ocean to pollute the world, because they just want to save the money, and also they don't want to use the money, and also politically driven by the USA, Western world. And also, one funny thing is that the Japanese Prime Minister saying and bring China, why China ban all the kind of seafood products or something. And that's very funny, right? He is the bad guy doing the bad things to the world, and the China is good person, a good thing, and good party, and saying Japan is doing those kind of things and banning some seafood, radiated seafood, to protect their citizens. But Japan bring China. That's ridiculous, ludicrous. So Japan is very mean and saying something reverse and anti-human being stuff. It's like pointing the car as the bus. All the things are nonsense, not making sense, right? And Japan, we don't need to care about that. 10 years I already sanctioned Japan's products and not buying any Japanese products and not using any Japanese products. And now I emphasize again this kind of norm and promote those kind of anti-Japanese sanction things. Okay, don't use any Japanese, myself don't use any Japanese products, and don't buy any Japanese products. Everyone, I think you should follow that to sanction Japan, because very dangerous. And even food you won't eat, right? It's for 10 or 20 years you will have cancer. It's for long term, and you will have cancer, your baby will be abnormal those kind of stuff is very terrible. And those Hong Kong, Taiwan, Macau, many people, love Japanese, and I think Japanese can be replaced by European products, and Chinese now the products are cheap, also great, and those can be replaced by Chinese products as well. You don't need to buy the Japanese products. We just use Chinese products to replace all of them. That's okay. Japanese products are not necessary. You can, if you want Euro stuff, you can buy European cars. Like in Macau, you cannot buy Chinese car, and no more choice. You can buy European car. No need Japanese car. And if you like my situation is the key fob of my BMW, and I bought the Japanese battery because in Macau no Chinese batteries, only Japanese. So even I've been using it, I just threw it away. I bought the Chinese Chunying, that one, to replace it. Even the Japanese products are not broken and not used up, I also insist to throw them away and throw to the rubbish bin and not using the Japanese products anymore. Even I have been using it, just throw it. Remember that, because the main point is the USA or the Western world is driven Japan, and let Japan do it. Otherwise, Japan will not dare to do it. The thing is to make the conflict and make the war, South Korean, North Korean, those kind of things, to make the Eastern Asian has tension, so that the American will have the capital back to the America. So they are just very wanting the war to around this area. So the political driven is the main key.